Hello everybody, my name is Mr. Jordan, also known as a strange fool, and this year I played every video game. I played Quordle, and Hurdle, and Nerdle, and Dawdle, and Birdle, and Birdle, and Angle, and Symbol, and Yeardle, and Tradle, and Foodle, and Wordle? Doesn't ring a bell. The point is, I am more than qualified to offer my opinions on which of this year's games are the GOAT and which are the Yavla GOAT. And so, it is my great pleasure to announce the first annual Video Game Award. Now, I know what you're saying. Aren't the Video Game Awards already a thing? No, this is the Video Game Award, singular. I give out one prize that is divided between a number of categories. It's completely different. Also, my show won't be giving a platform to an anti-Semitic child unless we have time for it at the end. And what an award it is!
Standing 8 inches tall and rendered in 24-carat titanium gold, the Arse-Out Man was designed by Weta Workshops to represent the average gamer's posture and fashion sense. This magnificent and beautifully sculptured statuette forms no part of the prizes offered by the Strange Fool Video Game Award.
Now, I could give my Game of the Year award out to any one of the many excellent and expensive new games that have come out this year. However, they've already won plenty of awards, and as George Michael sang, pray for the other ones, the other video games, which is why this year I'll be championing the cause of the underrepresented category of games that did not come out this year. It's not because I'm cheap. There were 65 Wordles this year. 2022 is disqualified. What is it about video games that makes them such a compelling hobby? It's marketing. Marketing is the reason. And what is a Video Game Awards show if not an opportunity to market a bunch of new games to a captive audience of industry marks? So, our first award is in celebration of those games that were so successfully marketed that I gladly paid real money for them in spite of them being a load of old shite. It's the Most Disappointing Award, and our nominees are Blade Runner.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. A pointless remake of a 15-year-old movie. I watched players writhing in boredom near the end of their second stream. All that effort pissed down a drain, like piss in drain. Time to die.
Broken Sword.
You haven't played it? Oh, you have to! It is simply a classic. Bollocks. Broken Sword is like being trapped in a grave with Tim Vine. An endless grind through mindless puzzles with jokes that are as funny as they are mandatory.
Sherlock Holmes, Chapter 1.
What do people want from a Sherlock Holmes game? An entirely invented childhood tragedy. Ghost hallucinations. A Cockney shooting gallery. Look, whatever. Just so long as we don't have to write any more mysteries.
I'm coming.
And the winner is Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1.
I can't tell you how much I wanted to love this game. An open world Sherlock Holmes game. Just imagine it. And then keep imagining it, because what we actually got was a mess.
Oh, it reminds me of our neighbour. He had the same balloon in his yard, only bigger. Do you remember?
Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1 bets all of its chips on the idea of young Sherlock Holmes as a character, exploring the cliched mystery of his childhood, his thoughts and feelings about his home and upbringing, his tentative first steps into detective work. It is a bold, but thoroughly unwelcome change in the direction of the series, and your enjoyment is ultimately going to depend on how much you care about this flimsy Victorian Gary Newman.
I'll never forget how challenging it was to obtain this simple sketch.
After an interesting enough tutorial, the game collapses into a formless mass of side quests and scavenger hunts, all designed to trick a general audience into thinking that this game is worth 50 quid.
Masterpieces by local artists at an affordable price.
The side quests play out like little Return of the Obra Dins, where you have to compare the witness testimonies and use logic to deduce who was stood where and did what. I mean, they're fun enough, but in total, all the side quests, and I mean all the side quests, probably amount to about 2 hours of actual time spent playing the game. The scavenger hunts are fun, but nothing you haven't seen before. The shooting, quick time combat sections are abysmal and genuinely add nothing to the game. As for the main story missions, they range from sort of interesting to tedious, and precious few of them could be called Holmesian. Most of the game boils down to activate your Witcher sense and then smell your way to the next checkpoint. It is so much less than even what the last Frogwares game offered.
Where would a champion hide a key?
And the real shame is so much effort went into making this game. The levels, the character design, the fantastic music. Even the voice acting is mostly credible. I mean, look at this city. It's beautiful. They spent so much effort into tricking people that this was a AAA game, and for what? Nobody's playing it, and the people who have played it don't seem to particularly like it.
Snuff's ready.
Look, Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1 isn't bad by any stretch, it's just tremendously disappointing. I wish Frogwares all the best in the world, and I hope they made $1 billion off of this. But I have absolutely no interest in where they're taking these games. If you want to play an open-world action-adventure game where you do side quests and uncover the traumatic story of some blandly attractive main character, then play this game. Or play any game, because that is every game.
No more crime for you until next month.
It's just come to my attention that the Sherlock Holmes games are made in Ukraine, which is currently being invaded. The most disappointing game of 2022 was Pokemon Wordle. A worthy winner. Our next category is the coveted Game of the Year Worst. You see, some games plummet so far past disappointment that they land in primal despair, and this category honours, or rather dishonours, the most terrible games that I played this year, and I swear to God the other categories are more positive. Please don't turn off the video. Our nominees are The Dig. This is one of them games that makes you glad that eventually the sun will consume the earth. The Seventh Guest. The Nomad Soul. Oh! Oh no! God Christ! Jesus Christ! No! Oh. And the winner is The Seventh Guest.
While some games can be frustrating and others are just dull, The Seventh Guest is a uniformly and irredeemably miserable experience. It's an ugly, slow, tedious, craven game, and the thought of having to play it again to get this footage made me feel physically ill. The Seventh Guest is like Grandma's puzzle book. You know, the sort of thing, riddles and crosswords, spot the difference and the like. It's the sort of thing you'd buy a particularly stupid child to occupy them on a trip to the seaside. Except the puzzles in the Seventh Guest are dragged out to the nth degree and implemented in the most user-unfriendly way possible with this queasy, garish 3D animation. Oh god, it just makes me sick to look at it. The worst of these puzzles is an enormous first-person maze that plays out like a PowerPoint presentation. But the worst of these puzzles is the racist anagram puzzle, where you have to make a nonsense phrase using words where Y is the only vowel. But the worst of these puzzles is the chess problem, where you have to swap 24 black and white knights to the opposite sides of the board, all whilst the terrible voice actor playing your character is thinking out loud at you. A puzzle that takes 8 minutes to complete, even when you have the fucking solution in front of you. That pumpkin violence footage you saw earlier, that was me losing my mind during an 18-step game of Simon on a piano. 18 steps? Are you fucking joking me? How little is my life worth to you, game? In fact, here's a funny joke. I fucked up this puzzle a second time recording the footage for this section. The Seventh Guest is bad. It's bad now, and it was bad then, and anyone who tells you you have to play this game means you harm. Oh, but you don't play it for the puzzles, you play it for the campy story. Listen, whatever story the footage of this game is trying to convey is utterly lost under the broken green screening and the stupid fucking reverb effect that drowns out the audio, and being delivered without any context through random staccato vignettes. You never know what's happening, or who anyone is, or why everyone is here. Not that it matters, because the story as it is complete nonsense. You're in a spooky mansion belonging to the evil toy maker Stauf, and there's something about demonic visions and a virus that steals people's souls, but the ghosts that are in the mansion, they died as part of a ritual to grant Stauf immortality. Maybe. If this ever made sense, it sure as fuck doesn't in the game. It's not scary, it's not funny, it's nothing. It's just noise, endless noise. Here, you watch this, right, and try and tell me what is happening in this scene.
Sturdy work. Even Houdini didn't use such heavy weight. Ah, perhaps this is the secret of Stauf's power. Yes!
Hello? What's the noise?
Yes!
Temple? What the hell are you doing? Stop it! Stop what you're...
No! Stop!
The Seventh Guest is Hitler's trick. This game was made by a motherfucker in order to sodomize your senses. The people responsible for the Seventh Guest should be forced to play the Seventh Guest.
I realise at this point in the video that listening to a Yorkshireman rant for 10 unbroken minutes is in danger of confirming every stereotype that the world has about us. And so, our next category is in celebration of a game I actually like. Honest, no, I really actually do like video games. This game is a good game. In fact, it's far too good. If I counted this game amongst all the other nominees this year, it would throw out the curve completely. It's the Riven Award for the game that is most Riven. Our nominees are Riven,
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 and the winner is... The winner is Riven.
silence. Silence isn't the absence of sound. It is the presence of the space that contains sound. John Cage. Well, no, not really. I made that quote up. But it's a good line, isn't it? It's very insightful. Modern video games are full of noise. Gunshots and footsteps, a manipulative score, the endless babble of audio logs and the whittering of enormous crowds of NPCs. Silence is something that games have simply lost interest in. Riven is one of the greatest games of all time, and I could talk endlessly about it. I could talk about its world design and its attention to detail, about how coherent and convincing a place Riven feels even today. I could talk about the music, which is at once alien and familiar, intriguing, but also foreboding. I could talk about the structure of the game and how it drops you into a mystery at the wrong end and then gently nudges you towards the beginning using nothing more than the environment and the player's own intuitions. I could go on at length. I could ramble about Riven. But playing through these games and writing these reviews, it really struck me that silence is not the punctuation between sounds, but a sound in itself. John Cage. No, that was me again. Riven is a game set in a desolate world. There are barely any other people, just the remains of some terrible thing that happened before. And you are challenged to look around, have a think, and come to your own conclusions. It's the original walking simulator. But unlike its successors, Riven uses silence in a way that isn't just cosmetic or a brief pause in a battery of narration. Silence in Riven is participatory. It forms a place for the player to occupy, to take their time to consider things, or just to stare in confusion at the weird, freaky things sliding into the sea. There are different and specific kinds of silence in every location in Riven. The silence indoors is small and warm. The silence on top of the hills is broad and vast. Just listen to this crater. Close your eyes. You're there. You're actually there. Even Riven's story is delivered silently, and they didn't have to. They could have narrated everything at the player, a mistake that the sequels made again and again. But all of this was a deliberate choice. Riven is a game about absence, And Cyan designed a foundation of silence that is as engrossing as the noisy, mad rattling of the Jules Verne roller coasters on top of it. The silence in Riven isn't just a side effect, or an afterthought, or decoration. It's part of the identity of the game, and of the story, and of the place. This game is 25 years old, but its sound design excels to this day. So, Riven wins the Riven Award for being Riven, for its masterful use of silence. I guess I'll talk about all the other stuff next year.
I need your help. There's a great deal of history that you should know.
Understatement of the century, mate.
Some video games are masterpieces of form and function, and others are big shiny guns that shoot endorphins into your brain. Our next category is the Most Award, for the games that I couldn't stop playing this year even when I wanted to. And it is as much a celebration of those games as it is an indictment of my own personal failings. Our nominees are Final Fantasy X-2.
No, listen, the girls have to dress up in skimpy outfits for a reason, like, it's all very serious. Look, I know that one's naked. There's a lot of lore to this game. The soul of a very powerful sorcerer is in that stripper costume.
Satisfactory.
Make some parts so you can build a machine to make some parts, so you can build a machine to make some parts, so you can build a machine to make some parts, so you can build a machine to make some parts, so you can build a machine to make some parts, so you can build a machine.
Twitch.
Twitch isn't a video game. Of course it is. It's on the computer, it's bad for your health. I spent 291 hours doing it last year, and every now and again a Nazi comes in and calls you the F word. Twitch isn't just a video game, it's the worst MMORPG in history, apart from Guild Wars.
And the winner is Final Fantasy X-2.
For years, I would say to people, Final Fantasy X-2's the best one. It's got the best leveling system. The late game content is genuinely challenging. I like that it doesn't really have a story and is just a bunch of silly vignettes. It was a really cheap, hot take to have, and nobody ever called me out on it. Then, this year, I tried to 100% this game. And I mean tried. At one point, the guide I was following, right, missed a critical but easily overlooked step that would have left me 0.4% under a perfect game. And so I, like any reasonable person, went into a hex editor and manually altered the bytes corresponding to the quest that I had missed. And then I wrote a piece of software to calculate the checksum of the new file based on the proprietary hashing algorithm that Final Fantasy X-2 uses. Here's the source code. I spent 47 hours playing this game. And that doesn't account for the additional 8 hours I spent hacking into the game so I could finally actually finish the bloody thing. That is how much I wanted to complete this game. And at that point, I wasn't even enjoying it. See, it turns out Final Fantasy X-2 is a lot less charming than I remember. The fights are, if you're 100%ing things, comically easy. The dungeons are long and boring. The light-hearted lack of a story is frequently interrupted by an actual melodramatic story that I had somehow completely forgotten about. And the phrase, "I have to learn to move on," is uttered approximately infinity times. Worst of all, you'll notice I still haven't actually finished the game. That's because the ending kind of sucks. After 50 plus hours of titting around, I was grinding through the final boss gauntlet and the game just fell to pieces. All the final bosses are immune to everything, have immunity-piercing attacks that one-shot your whole max-level team, and need stupid game-breaking tricks to get past. The much-vaunted end-game content that I was working towards turns out is horse shit. So I gave up. I put a ludicrous amount of effort into finishing this game, even fixing this game, and I still couldn't complete it. That's why this is the winner, because I went fully insane playing this game, and I will never get that time back. Hey!
Video games are an expensive hobby, and we all like to get good value for money. Which is why, if you'll let me, I'd like to give a special award to a game that this year instantly and politely demonstrated that it would be a colossal waste of money to continue playing it. It's the Least Tolerable Game of the Year award. And the winner is...
Lord Serenoa? Good morning.
Congratulations, my lord. The future of Wolford is looking brighter than ever.
Oh, get to fuck.
Well, we've come to the end, folks. Jeff Keighley's tucked up in bed, and Christopher Judge is still giving his acceptance speech. It's New Year's Eve here in YouTube land, and this holiday season I've already given out fistfuls of coal. But now it's time to give out the biggest present, the video game award, to the best boy. The game of the year. It's the video game of the year. The nominees... Baba Is You.
A genre-defining puzzle game that I can't explain further without spoiling it.
Outer Wilds.
A genre-defining puzzle game that I can't explain further without spoiling it.
The Talos Principle.
Yeah, the Talos Principle's also pretty good.
The winner is...
I honestly lack the words to convey how joyous an experience it is to play Outer Wilds for the first time. It's a charming, clever, truly unique adventure game that is an absolute pleasure to play from beginning to end. If you're even slightly interested in this game, stop this video now until you have played it. Broadly, you play an astronaut from the Outer Wilds Ventures, sent to explore the mysteries of your tiny solar system. A solar system filled with bizarre, beautiful, and extremely deadly planets. And that's all you do? You just explore. Fire your rocket ship into the sky and pick a direction. No wrong answers. It's such a simple notion at its core. But there are ideas in this game that will blow your mind, and there are dozens of them. Every time you land on a planet, you're just taken aback by how creative the world design is. It's just an endless parade of delightful surprises. Look at this! What's even happening here? Oh my god, what is that? It's just tons of fun, dropping onto a new planet and seeing what mad shit you can find on it. Oh, when I say these planets are deadly, I am not fucking around. This game should come with a horror tag. You'll be hopping along, marvelling at some incredible, alien, ancient doodad, and then suddenly start pissing oxygen out of your suit, or lose grip of the ground and tumble into deep space. I hope you remembered the way out of this cave, or you're going to be buried alive. But all of that danger comes from you poking around where you don't belong. This is an adventure game in the truest sense. You get the thrill of uncovering some ancient, long-forgotten secrets and the challenge of surviving on nothing more than your own wits. As you explore the solar system, you'll bump into the other members of the Outer Wilds ventures, each with a different musical instrument and playing a different part of the theme tune. You don't spend a huge amount of time with them, but each astronaut is brimming with personality. I mean, look at them! The character design is so good that even though you can't see their face, it is patently obvious that Rebek is a smoking hot badass that never fails to slay, and Esker is a filthy little worm that we all hate. But the real stars of this game are the Nomai, the people who came before. Their story is told entirely through the text you'll find spiralling across the surface of the ruins scattered about the solar system. Usually I find text logs in games to be lazy filler, but the writing here is so compelling, and the personalities of each of these strange fools shine so brightly that you often forget that everyone that you meet on your journey is long dead. This whole game is so fun and friendly and touching that by the end of it you'll be so completely won over that even if you're a miserable old git like me, you will shed a tear. Outer Wilds is a perfect game. It is a complete experience without flaw, which makes it all the more impressive that the expansion pack is even better than the base game. In fact, I don't want to spoil it. I won't spoil it. Stop watching this footage right now. I have finished Outer Wilds twice now, and there are still parts of it that I can't even begin to work out how they pulled off. It is a creative, technical tour de force. It's the reason this whole video exists. I don't usually shill for games, but everyone needs to play Outer Wilds. Don't make a sequel.
That's it. That's all the awards. Thank you for watching my dumb video all the way to the end. Congratulations to the winners and commiserations to the viewers. If you've enjoyed watching this video, the best thing you can do for me is share it. And if you've enjoyed my whole vibe, why not come to my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/astrangefool, where I play games much like the games I've reviewed in this video. That's it. That's all for now. Look after yourself over the new year, and roll credits, I guess. Do game shows have credits?